Hey, everybody. Well, first things first, if anyone knows of any laptop cameras or internet cameras that will remove the extra 15 pounds that this one apparently does, or can find some way to make all of this look younger and maybe less bald and pathetic, I will pay whatever it costs to get that particular piece of equipment because this is just depressing. Hi, it's Pete, and welcome to my first video update on global trade, first of many. So just as a quick update for those of you who've been following the odyssey that is my career change, I left Crane, and I have nothing but wonderful things to say about that organization and the people I worked with and the time that I had there. And I wish them all nothing but the best of luck and happy hunting. And I hope that they continue on their road to success and their climb to dominance. Just a great organization. I wanted to go someplace where I could have the kind of global reach that I felt I needed to be able to do the kind of consulting I hope to do. Crane being significantly involved in logistics and focused primarily on the movement of freight, I really wanted to be able to focus on consulting. So I went to Crow, which is a very dominant, very large global tax firm. And I'll be heading up their global customs and trade and tariff practice. And we will have a global reach. We're focused right now primarily on the United States, but that will change as opportunity arises. And we will be focused on everything from purchase order through payment. And unlike the past, we are closely aligned with a supply chain practice. This is a first for me. So not only will I be engaged in tax, but I'll also be able to work with people on how those different parts of what we advise on are actually going to influence how you move cargo and how those two things actually have a nexus. I'm outrageously excited about it because I've met the people and worked with the people that are in that practice, and they're brilliant. So super excited. Anyway, enough about me. Everyone's asking about list number 4. I can understand why. It's terrifying to think that everything now that we import from China, with loose exceptions, is going to have a duty on it. I mean, that's enough to keep you up at night drinking cough syrup. But trust me, it's got some time. You know, we don't know for certain that this is going to drop, that this 10% duty is going to happen on September 1st. Man, that date's coming like a freight train. All right. So here's the deal. There were hearings that happened not long ago where people got to come out and say to the ITC and the USTR, hey, I've got some stuff on this list. I'm not quite sure it should be on it because I don't have domestic competition. You know the drill. The actual transcripts of those conversations are all available. I know. So I'm going to put the link to those transcripts down in the section for the thumbnails, I guess, or whatever. I have no idea what I'm doing. In case it is not entirely clear, I know how to talk about trade, and I can hit the record button for the video. Aside from that, it's like watching me try to fold a fitted sheet. You know, I mean, generally speaking, I realize there's something supposed to happen at the end, but the actual engineering of what's going on is probably hysterical to everyone else around me. But I'm gonna put a link to the transcripts of what went down because they are fascinating, and I mean that. I'm not kidding right now. The tactics that were used, the language that was used. It's very clear when you read these that a significant portion of the people that brought their arguments to the hearings were advised by the same people. So when you begin to look at the folks that came to visit court or the hearings, I don't know if it was a court, honestly, when they came to go talk to them and they spoke about why their stuff ought to be taken off the list, same language, same tactics, same strategies on a lot of these. And I'm not sure who advised them. I'm sure it was an extremely expensive law firm. I wish it was me, frankly. But you can't win them all. So it'd be interesting to see if that tactic worked. I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of weak. I think that there were smarter ways to say that what you wanted to accomplish other than we don't have any domestic competition. get it. But from my point of view, I don't think that's a strong enough argument. I think not having enough domestic competition for a request for exclusion is fine, but you need to follow that up with, and it would be cataclysmic to our finances if this weren't to go through. It would take years to build that kind of a production facility in the United States. It's necessary for national defense or for government work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they just didn't expand on that. So once this list does come out, we expect it to be more narrow than just everything else that's left over because of these hearings. And once that list comes out, we'll have an idea of the exclusion process. Yes, I will be working with our team to get exclusions done. Please reach out if you need me, Pete.Mento at crow.com. That's CROWE, so it's crow with an E.com. And I'll be happy to get in touch with you and help you out. So that's going to be big. And the other thing I keep in mind is all of this is a political tool. So do we know for certain that on September 1st, we're going to have these duties come into effect? No. No, we don't. We don't know for certain it's going to happen September 1st. We haven't known anything for certain. This has been the most trying, difficult, maddening year for most of us in our lives, in our professional lives. The uncertainty, the irrationality, the unpredictability of what's gone on for us has just been awful. And I think this is going to be the case too. Prepare for the worst. Prepare for September 1st to come and for these duties to show up and for you to be doing a mad scramble to pay for it. Talk to your surety and understand if you have enough room on your bond to deal with it. Talk to your customs house broker. Don't get me wrong. I make my living advising you guys by the hour for money on these kinds of issues, but never forget that you have a customs house broker whose first job, that's the first line of defense. And many of you picked that customs house broker based on how cheap they were, which was probably a really bad idea. But reach out to that broker and talk to them and see if they can offer you some level of advice. And then that first piece of advice should be if you have enough room on your bond to deal with this rapid increase in duties. Then beyond that, I would also begin to just think about alternative areas of production or purchasing. Have you sat down with sales? Have you sat down with production? Have you sat down with the people in manufacturing and said to them, hey, it's not my fault, but this is about to happen. Merry Christmas. And we should probably come up with some ways of dealing with it because there are other parts of the world that produce these goods. And, speaking of that, the manufacturing numbers are pretty astounding. Depending on who you talk to, there's some really wild statistics out there, like saying that China has lost as much as 40% of its U.S. manufacturing, which I believe in about as much as I believe in, the Easter Bunny. But I should probably, I don't know if any kids are, if you're watching the TradeGeek video, first of all, you need to get a life. And second of all, I'm sorry if you just find out the Easter Bunny isn't real. I apologize. But secondly, this idea that much is left just seems impractical. I will tell you that a significant portion has gone to Mexico, where the other countries that are big, of course, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, a lot of automotive is going to Eastern Europe. And I don't know if it's ever going to go back to China. I think what people are finding out is that you can rest assured, you can be confident that the production values are fantastic coming out of those places, and the supply chains so far have been able to manage it. I think they might be at their breaking point. I think that people are having a hard time getting the air freight and the ocean freight that they need to support it. And we'll see if the market can find a way to react to that. So, more on that as time comes. As far as negotiations go, it's a safe bet to assume that these are still all happening behind the scenes. And it's a safe bet to also assume that we're not getting all the information that we'd like to from the press. But it's also a safe bet to assume that both countries now are digging in. And if they don't start to get answers from one another that they think they can bank on, I would not be at all surprised if this lasted far beyond the election. I think that, and this is my personal opinion at this point, this is just based on my observations. There's a lot to be said for the president being able to go into this election with this issue in his back pocket. Now, I don't know how consumers would feel. There's people I work with that are a lot smarter than me about how voters would feel about knowing that everything they're buying from China is 10% more, and everything that they're buying that was manufactured from things from China is 10% more, or most of what. But I'm sure it wouldn't make a lot of people feel much better. Could make some, I don't know, but that's certainly an attention grabber if you think about it. So anyway, moving on from that, there's some other things that are certainly worth discussing. This incredible inflow of goods that we're seeing from Mexico, a total quieting. Has anyone heard anything about us closing down the border with Mexico again? I haven't, and it is a non-issue at this point. Non-issue at this point. So I think that we're pretty good as long as things continue to escalate with China, with things remaining good there. We are hearing the sabers rattled good and hard again with Europe, but I think that the beef issue certainly helped a lot with quieting that down a little bit. Right. So just as a quick aside, I'll be doing these videos as often as I can, mostly because there isn't anybody in my personal life who wants to hear about this stuff. So the idea that I can scream into the void about trade topics with the hopes that maybe 2 or 3 of you will listen to this is so gratifying. I will be recording the TradeGeek podcast with World Trade Centers Denver on September the 11th. I am so excited. I am so excited. I have a lot of friends in Denver, and hopefully you can all make it. And if you're not a member of the World Trade Center in Denver, why aren't you? You should be ashamed of yourselves. And for those of you who watch these videos and follow my content that are looking for help and quite honestly, are just not in the price range for the Range Rover-esque advice that someone like me gives, the first step you should always make if you're just breaking into the international trade world is your World Trade Center. They in the city that you are working in, anywhere in the globe, because they have resources there that can absolutely help you to get you on your way. And then when you are a big, beautiful organization with lots of money, then you can give a guy like me a call. I'm kidding. Even when you're not so big, you can give a guy like me a call, and I'll be happy to help you. So, yeah, the podcast is going to focus on a lot of things. It's going to focus on importing and exporting, of course, cargo security, cyber. We're going to focus a lot on transportation infrastructure. We're going to talk about all those things that you've always told me you're interested in. And speaking of that, in the comment section below, after you subscribe, because you're going to subscribe, this is free content. Who would want to miss out on this? Watching me do videos in all the exciting places I go around the world. Do you have any idea how many of these videos are going to be recorded in like Hampton Inns and in Courtyard by Marriott's while I'm probably wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt, drinking soda water with ESPN in the background? It's an amazing number. So you're going to want to subscribe. In the comment section, you're going to want to tell me the sorts of things you'd like to hear more about regarding trade and global business. And I'm going to make sure we get that content. I am amazingly fortunate in that all these travels around the world have introduced me to a collection of fascinating people, of law enforcement officials, legislatures, people in logistics, this amazing collection of clients that I've met. And you are fascinating. And the stories that you have to tell about the things you've overcome, which I think are important to share with people. I can't wait. Lastly, yes, trade school is coming back, and it's going to be better than ever before. The organization I'm with is investing time and energy and effort into me and into the idea of maintaining that level of education to everyone. So more on that soon. But until then, I'll be doing the best that I can to keep you all informed and educated on this particular platform. So slideshows, yes. Videos, yes. But my video updates will be happening here on YouTube. I'll make you aware of when they're coming on as best I can on LinkedIn, but it's best that you hit me up here on YouTube, right? So last thing I'll say is where I'm at in my career right now, where I'm at professionally, I could not have done without the amazing support of all of you. The fact that I can put a video on LinkedIn and 25, 30,000 people watch it is shocking to me. And the fact that so many of you reach out and ask for help, so many people are constantly referring your friends to listen to the content that we create. And so many of you are reaching out to me to ask for help and have supported me in moving to this role. I'm humbled and I'm incredibly thankful, and I will never forget the kind of help that you provided for me. So enough of all that. It's going to be a beautiful Tuesday morning. Please subscribe and give me your comments. And for those of you who are really worried about September 1st, just get a plan put together. And if you need help, just reach out. Again, Pete.Mento at crow.com. That's Crow with an E. I'll do everything I can to help. All right. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Thanks.